Welcome back, everybody. We're going to read another story today. It's an easy story, but it will teach you some Spanish words that will be very useful as you become a better reader and speaker of Spanish. So here we go. Alright. Okay. En nuestra escuela hay muchos discípulos. New word there is I. It's Hay. Looks like hey. Like hey. But it means like there is or there are. Or in a question it'd be like, is there or are there? It's basically, asking whether something exists or saying that it exists. So this says what? It says, in our school there are many students. That's all. Okay. Carlos, Enrique, y Pablo son discípulos. I guess like, Carlos would be like Carl or maybe Charles. And then Enrique would be like, Henry, y Paul. So like Charlie, Hank, and Paul are students. I think you don't really need to go that far, as far as translating. Well, translating it, taking it from one language to another. There you go. Okay. Ana, Maria, y Elvira son discípulos. Brittany, Whitney, and Chastity are students. But like students ends with an A because they're all ladies. Yeah, and like in a group, a mixed group, if there's even one guy, then you say discípulos. That's only if it's all women or just one woman that you say discípula. Juan es diligente. Carlos no es muy diligente. Algunas veces está muy perezoso. Okay, so we got like, an S, that's from the verb that's called ser, S-E-R, and then you got an está, and that's from the other verb, estar. We got a video on that. Basically, you use S for stuff that you always are, and está for stuff that you sometimes are. But there's other rules besides that. Juan, or John, is diligent. Carlos is not very diligent. Sometimes he's very lazy. And they used está, muy perezoso, because he's not always lazy. You could say, es perezoso, and you'd be saying like, he's just always lazy. But this is saying like, sometimes he's lazy that day, at that time. That's all. Okay. Elvira es más diligente que Juan. That's how you do a comparison. That's how you say Elvira is more diligent than Juan. The K there, Q-U-E, that's kind of like the word than in this case. ¿Quién es más diligente? ¿El discípulo o la discípula? The O means or, and it's kind of like the first letter of the word or. So this says, who is more diligent? The student or the student? Or maybe we say like, the boy student or the girl student. We don't have like really one word that means like boy student or girl student, but they do. Juan está atento y es obediente. I had to look this one up. Why are they using está with atento and s with obediente? It's because when you say like atento with the verb ser, it means like caring or like thoughtful. Like you're paying attention to in a kind of like an emotionally sensitive way. But we use it with a star. It's more like just kind of like distracted or like not paying attention. Again, like in the moment. So this is like Juan is attentive, but not in the sense of like he's responsive to her emotional needs, and he's obedient in the classroom. Yeah. Okay. Good explanation there. Carlos está desatento y es desobediente. Like the des in Spanish is kind of like the dis in English, the D-I-S in English. So this is like Carlos is inattentive, and disobedient. No escucha atentamente. And that's like he doesn't listen attentively. We saw last time how like putting a mente is like putting a li, making an adverb out of an adjective. Okay. Cuando el maestro habla y explica, Carlos no escucha.
Él no aprende nada. That's like when the teacher speaks and explains, Carlos does not listen. He does not learn nothing.
Yeah, it's a double negative, which we're always taught are incorrect in English. That's how you have to do it in Spanish. So that language rule doesn't apply to every language in the world about don't do no double negatives. So yeah, if you want to say he doesn't learn anything, you say he doesn't learn nothing. Just like that. Nada. En muchas escuelas hay discípulos y discípulas. That's like in many schools, and then there's that Hay again. Remember what that is? Yeah, that's right. In many schools there are students and lady students. You might say, there are male and female students. Kind of a different way of saying it in English. En algunas escuelas hay solo discípulos, y en otras escuelas hay solo discípulas. So like here we see like the word solo, it means only, and you don't have to change it to say like solos before discípulos, or like solas before discípulas, because it's really, I guess you could say like it's modifying the I, the Hay, like an adverb. So like in some schools there are only male students, and in other schools there are only female students. Okay. Well, like nobody said it was an interesting story, but it's a story, and you can try to read it yourself. And you can try like the vocabulary quiz on SpanishDrill.com, and like you can share it with your friends, and like have custom T-shirts made with our faces on them. So until next time, we're three guys on a bench, and we talk about Spanish.